This is Jay, Odin's Exotics, coming at you. So make sure you buckle up, because this one's going to be a bumpy ride. So, okay, everybody knows I work with crested geckos, but what most people don't know is I work with 7 other different species of geckos. So, this week, like requested, we're going to go through all 7 different species of geckos.
I'm ready.
Alright, start recording.
It is.
Okay, so this is the tiny, tiny little morning gecko. These little geckos live about 10 to 15 years, and they get about 3 inches. The coolest thing about these geckos is, honestly, is they are asexual, which pretty much means they do not need a male to reproduce. So these 3 females will reproduce. They will drop 2 eggs every couple of weeks, and then I'm not too positive on how often they hatch out. But that is the coolest thing about these geckos, is they are actually reproduced without needing a male at all. Paradoria picta, also known as panther geckos, also known as Madagascar ground geckos. These cute 5 to 7 inch geckos live about 10 years. They give you 2 eggs every 4 weeks, and they have to take about every 4 to 6 weeks to hatch out. I incubated mine at 80 degrees. These cute, adorable, loving geckos are my #1 favorite gecko of all time. They come in various colors now. As you can see, this one is more of like a copper tone, tan colored, where this one is more of a grayish brown. This one also has a stripe, where this one doesn't. So there is various forms of them. We are going to try to get all the forms here. These are going to be my second most breedable gecko. If you do not want a leopard gecko, but you want something that is just as cool, definitely try panther geckos. Paradoria picta. They are an insect-eating gecko. They do not eat fruit. They are not like crested geckos. They can climb a little bit, so if you give them the ability to climb, be careful that they will climb. This is our Halmahera gecko, or Halmahera giant gecko. His name is Han. He is our only one. We do not have a female for him. We are looking for a female. These giant geckos are the 2nd or 3rd largest geckos in the world. We have him in a bioactive cage, which is partially torn apart right now. We're just doing a revamp on it, so I figured since we're doing a revamp on it, I might as well get a video of him. I've got to put all his stuff back. But he eats insects and rapashi, just like all the other most of the other geckos that we have here. These geckos live to be about 15 to 20 years and will get about 11 inches long. And yes, they are vocal just like the other geckos. The only bad part about these geckos that is a cool that they have adapted through is that they can rip their skin off at will. Well, not really at will. If they feel threatened when you go to try to grab them, they can actually rip their skin off. This is Voodoo, our knobtail gecko. This male gecko of ours is still somewhat shedding, as you can tell, but he is a loner, male, Voodoo. We are looking for a female, as usual, for him. We have a few geckos that we're looking for males, or females for our males. But this 5 to 6 inch gecko is amazing nocturnal animal that does not like to be held actually, but loves his dubia roaches. He's not too fond of mealworms. These geckos are from Australia. They do not see insects that often. So, as you can tell, you only put 1 to 2 insects in at a time. But this ground-dwelling gecko will live to be about 15 to 20 years here. And we are disturbing him, so I'm going to let him be. Just a quick video of him and his habitat, how we have him set up. Here we have our Rhaclodactylus leachianus, aka a lychee gecko. All 18 inches approximately of her. That's how big they get. Living close to 20 years, I believe. The world's largest gecko. If you would ever have a chance to hold a lychee, I would suggest you do it. They feel like velvet. They feel it's the coolest feeling in the world, and knowing that you're holding the world's largest gecko ever. And I have seen ones that are bigger than 18 inches. These things, I've seen ones that are the length of people's arms. Can you imagine holding a gecko that's tip of its tail is right down here, and it's all the way up here to the length of the arm? But this is our Hope, who's wanting to come to the camera person at the moment, which is me. We are going to eventually breed, just not right now.
There you go. She's all stretched out.
My second New Caledonian species that I breed is gargoyle geckos. We have Memphis here. Everybody should know the style of Memphis. And then we have Knoxville over here. Knoxville came from Wally, and Memphis came from LA Exotics. Now, this New Caledonian species is a lot like crested geckos. So, sorry with Knoxville. She's actually gravid at the moment. Oh, well, here we go. They average about 15 years old and average about 60 grams. So this lovely girl right here is almost 60 grams. She is pushing 57 grams. Now, I have heard of stories of them getting bigger than 60 grams because they're just a little bit larger than crested geckos. As my assistant gets Knoxville, they do jump. That's the one thing that everybody has to get used to with if you work with a New Caledonian species. They do jump. But they're starting to get a little agitated and starting to get a little hypered up, so we're going to put them back, and I just want to thank you. Last but certainly not least, we own leopard geckos here. I keep them in a rack for their about 15 years of life. I have seen them as upwards close to 30 years old they can live with proper care. And all 7 to 10 inches of them love a nice little tight tub. Nothing too big, nothing too small. They do need to stay warm. They are from the area of Afghanistan and Pakistan area. What was that, a little grub worm? And I just keep them pretty basic, as you can see. Nothing too fancy-dancy. These are the black knives. They come in a wide variety of morphs. That is the female right there, and then the male right here. But if you like these type of videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and while you're down there, go over and smash that like button while you're there. Go ahead and comment what you think of these amazing geckos, and let me know what you want to see next week. Thank y'all.